Well, the Treasure Team event is back, and I'm seeing a lot of people ask, is this thing worth it? And I do want to say, I have talked about this before, I am not a fan of this event at all. I hate the fact that the only way you can get these things, compasses, is by going and spending gems or spending money. I really believe this should be like the Cappy one, where we have some quests that we can do in order to go and get more of these compasses. However, they did go and at least allow us to get 3 more by going and spending gems, so it's better to get 103 than to get 100, but either way, I am not a fan of it. Now, is this event worth it? I am going to say it is. However, this is going to be more for the late game players out there. Really, it's designed for the whales. There's no kidding about that at all. This is a heavily spent event on it, and if you are going to go and try for some of this stuff, you really need to make sure you're all in on this and ready to spend to at least get that 300 reward prize. If you're not ready to spend on it, then use your gems, go and get as much of these compass currencies as you want, and just sit on them like we do with the Cappy machine and the lucky silver coins. Hang on to them as long as you can until you get that 300, and then you can go and pull from it. So in my opinion, I think all the rewards suck on this wheel. The only thing that's really good is going to be those telescopes, which are the most difficult thing to get. I nearly got close to 300 pulls on it. Don't remember exactly. I'll show the footage behind me here. But either way, this is gonna be one of those things where you're only really trying to go and pull the telescopes. Everything else is just kind of like, all right, I got a gold key. The reason why we want to wait for those 300 is just to be as efficient as possible. If we get 300, we get this pet treasure box where we now have a chance of getting 1 of 5 of these arcanas. It's not like you're going to get to go and decide which one to pick on it. It's going to be random and hopefully you land a good one. And of course, there's no Elsa in there either. Now, if you do want to speed up the process a little bit for when the next time this comes around, the $5 and $10 ones are going to be your best deals. And just buying a couple of those, 1, 2, 3, however many you want, if you do want to spend. Not saying you have to, you can get all this stuff with gems if you are willing to wait the months for this thing to keep on showing up for you. But like I said, I spend on these, and I think this is probably your best situation. As far as spending gems on this, probably not the best case scenario, seeing how we got Valentine's Day right around the corner, and I can only imagine there's going to be hopefully some sort of good event. Hopefully it's not another one of these wheels here. But if you do decide to go for this, you do end up landing the telescopes. Now comes down to the decision of what you should be spending this on. And I highly recommend you really put some thought into this, because with how many gems these things are costing or how much cash, you want to make sure what you're putting it into is something that you're going to be sticking with for a while. Now you can see here I have both my Whisperer and my Sky Splitter both at 3 stars because I had a whole bunch of these phase 1 chests from other events. And then when this thing came around, that's where I went and got it for the phase 2 one, so I could go and start pumping into the Whisperer, my favorite weapon. For me, I knew I was going to be using the Whisperer for a very long time, and the Sky Splitter, it just seemed like the best bet to use all these phase 1 boxes on. But as far as all the other stuff you could be using this phase 2 on, that's where I decided to go with the Dragon Breath armor. I myself love pushing chapters. That's probably my favorite part about this game. Just call me silly if you want, it's just what I like to do. And the fact that I feel like the Dragon Breath is the best, I'm always sticking with this thing. This is where I'm going and putting it on mine. And if you don't have a favorite weapon or a favorite piece of gear that you really want to put this thing on, a lot of players out there will go and throw it on the Bloody Grail. Great benefit from that. Or a majority will just go and say, hey, I'm definitely going to be going for that Sky Splitter. I'm putting it on that weapon. So the Universal Crystal Box, I am not a fan of this at all. Actually, I was having a really hard time using it or figuring out when I got one. When I had my Sky Splitter just at Legendary, it wouldn't allow me to use it to take it to +1, so I had to go and burn up another Sky Splitter. Then at Legendary +1, I couldn't use it again. The only time I was actually able to use this was when I had my Sky Splitter at Legendary +2 and I needed to get that matching copy of a Sky Splitter. I thought that was kind of annoying in the fact that it said could be used in any sort of merging thing, so not sure why it wouldn't let me use it. Maybe they fixed it, but for me, I think it's garbage. So back to where we were at of once again saying, is this thing worth it? And that's where I think your best situation is. If you have some gems, go ahead and buy the things. If you have all the gems and you're able to put them in there and it's not going to be an issue for you, get all these things. I do believe these things are good, but there's no race to say like, oh man, I need to get this right away so I can have that, because when it comes down to it, it's just a game and this can end up being a lot of money. Because we have Valentine's Day right around the corner, I'd say hang on to your gems for that. This thing for some reason is 6-7 days. I don't know why it's around that long. This thing can come and go in a day, no problem, and nobody would blink an eye. But if a good Valentine's Day event pops up, or even if a bad one, decide then, do you want to put your gems into the Valentine's Day, or do you want to come back to this thing and put it towards some compasses so you can wait another 3 or 4 weeks for it to show up again. But if you're chasing these things for power, maybe the solution for you is to go and throw on one of your epic pets that you totally forgot about. If you want to know more about it, take a look at this video right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.